Welcome to Blinkers Off with your hosts, Jared Welch and Aaron Halterman.
What is up? What is up? I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. It is Thursday, August 22nd, and this is Blinkers Off. Welcome to Travers Week. What's up, man?
Yeah, welcome to Travers Week for sure. And boy, is it a good one. We've got a great one. We've got a great weekend ahead of us. A great card on Travers Day. Of course, the Travers itself going to be pretty special. So this should be a great show as well. We've got a lot of racing to cover. So I'm pretty pumped up about it.
No shit. I was going through and getting everything ready for the show and rapid fire. And guys, we're gonna do. It doesn't happen very often, but we're gonna have rapid fire during. And we're gonna have to talk about a race during. Of course, here in 40 minutes or so, you got the Ballston Spa, which is basically the Chad Brown / Pletcher race. But that will be running at Saratoga. We're going to talk about that probably about the same time, really. So we'll kind of go through that live and how we're going to bet that here later in the show. But yeah, you've got Saratoga, you've got Charlestown with the Charlestown Classic and the Oaks. You've got Woodbine, who had to cancel their racing last week. Now we're going to try it again with the Kings Plate, and so we're going to go back over those picks again. Del Mar, you got Breeders' Cup. Hey, we got a ton of Breeders' Cup, winning your in type races. It's across the board. I mean, the Travers is certainly the main event, but it's all literally across the country of solid racing.
Yeah, Breeders' Cup definitely takes center stage once this Travers gets done. Everything kind of goes towards the Breeders' Cup. So, and like I said, there's races going on all over the world right now for the Breeders' Cup as well. Things happening overseas for that as well. So, yeah, I mean, this is one of those weekends, man. You look forward to it, and then it gets here, and it's like, wow, it's gonna live up to the hype this year. And like I said, we're going to be all over the place because there's great racing going on tomorrow as well. So, yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Kevin, he's scouting out the area already for us. So, Kevin, we'll see you. Is he going to be there? Kevin, you going to be there Saturday?
I don't know his plans. He didn't text me his calendar, but I would imagine yes would be the answer.
Him and I stopped talking after he shit all over the Turtles and my coaching job. So. Which, by the way, stay tuned for that, Kevin. I got an update on the Falcons, but we'll get to that. I did want to touch on this. Shotty brought it up. This was kind of in my opening plans to talk about City of Troy after that really incredible performance last out overseas on the turf, of course. But he does have the Classic has been the talk, and now they're kind of firming that up a little bit. It sounds like that we're going to see City of Troy in the Classic. And, obviously we've seen this before. As far as horses, turf horses, international, like, hey, we're going to try the Classic. Sometimes it doesn't pan out. Sometimes they don't run very well. But with a horse like this, and I think on top of that, it's like, we don't have an American Pharoah. We don't have, Flightline. So it's like, it's kind of a year that feels like if there is going to be that kind of horse to do it, it could be him.
I think it's going to be an interesting situation. I personally think it's a very, very tough first race to try the dirt in the Classic. And it's not something that I don't think doesn't sound like it's going to go all that well, but he does have the pedigree that says that he can run on the dirt. I certainly think if he's entered in the turf, he's going to be huge, right? Like probably a big favorite in that race and be really tough to beat. He's got one more prep before he comes over here. So we'll see what they ultimately decide. I mean, in the Classic, you kind of said it on one side. It's like, well, you're trying dirt for the first time. You're a good turf horse. Let's see how this goes. But the other side of it is, well, who's a monster that you're really afraid of? So that'll make an interesting decision. He certainly was not a horse that was, very high on my radar as far as winning the Breeders' Cup Classic until his race yesterday in the Juddmonte, where he kind of took it to him for the first time in his career. Well, first time as a 3-year-old, I should say. Yeah. He kind of went out there and just said, you're not going to beat me today, kind of like his sire used to do. So I was pretty impressed with him yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. He's bred that you should like, the Classic but and also it's like, well, if you just kind of assuming that, that last race is something that you believe in, and he kind of can confirm that up again. But it's like if you just looked at it in a vacuum, who's the best horse in the race? Well, it's probably him, right? Then it's just a matter of, so it's like I can totally see a situation where you're like, well, do I want to pick Senior Buscador, or do I want to pick this insanely good horse that is trying? Now again, like you're having to, probably suck down a semi-low price on a horse that's trying, the dirt for the first time against, dirt horses in the Classic.
Right.
But there's worse things to do than to say, well, I have the best horse in the race.
Is he going to be that? I think is a big question mark as well. If you looked at like the Classic this time last year, it didn't really shape up. You didn't really have much of a feel for it, so this time this year, it's kind of the same thing. We just don't have a whole lot of a feel. Like, what if Arthur's Ride comes back and runs off the screen again? All of a sudden, it's kind of like, well, even if City of Troy runs like a great race, is Arthur's Ride just too good, Or what if he was awful? And then all of a sudden, it's like, well, we don't know who it is. What if National Treasure bounces back? Like, I feel like there's just not a clear picture at all right now. And that makes him more intriguing. But I don't necessarily think, like, at this moment, I could confidently say, well, he is the best horse, I've been a little underwhelmed with City of Troy until that last race. Like, yesterday was really good, and his other races this year have just been like good, not great.
I think I don't know. I can't. I'm right now. I'm leaning towards international horses in the Classic. Now I don't know which one. I think Forever Young is, if he can kind of come back and look good in his race, prior to this, like I might, because. Yeah, I keep looking back at that Derby and say, well, he was the best horse. I mean, he just had a shit trip. Now, again, he's still a 3-year-old. We know that because you're taking a 3-year-old Japanese horse. So it's like, it's kind of similar to taking a turf horse trying the dirt. So you kind of go in that. But I think more than anything, and again, we'll find out more in the next couple of months with these horses at home. One might jump out, like you said, like an Arthur's Ride, but it definitely feels like a year that it's possible where you're like, well, if it's going to happen, it's probably this year, right? If it's going to be an international, if it's going to be a Japanese horse, it kind of feels like, just saying, like right now, it's very likely, or at least somewhat possible.
It feels a lot like it did going into the Derby, right? Or it's like, well, if this horse is for real, I mean, this is the one he can win. And, and he, Forever Young, we're talking about, and he got third, and it was very, very close. And the Classic kind of feels the same way. You're right. You know what, though? Kind of felt the same way last year, and they didn't get it done. So we'll see. I definitely, if you're going to pick a Japanese horse or City of Troy, it's kind of just like last year. If you're going to pick the Japanese horses, well, go ahead. I can't really talk you off of them. I mean, it's a race that they can definitely win. There's no flight line. There's no Pharaoh, so there's no gun runner. So
yeah,
take your shot.
I think with a guy with those connections, with talking about City of Troy and Aiden and, the whole, obviously you mentioned like we've seen so many amazing amazing turf horses come over here.
Yeah.
And be awesome. Right. And it's like the coolest thing about the day, really. You see these crazy good. So it's not like he'd be like, well, he never does. If he were to opt to run in the Classic with the horse, that's got to be some sort of sign to say, listen, this horse, like, they're bypassing the turf, which, by the way, is like, what is it, a $4 million race, I think?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like it's just like this huge purse. I mean, it is bigger than the Classic, but not that much. So, to me, it'd be different if it was just some dude that, we really, some low level trainer overseas that had this decent horse, and all of a sudden they're going to. But with him, it's like, wow, he's making this decision with this horse, the horse that would, like you said, would probably be a lock to win that race, the turf race. That's saying something.
It would be really, yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. And he's not really the type of guy that just interim to interim. Like I saw an article, it's like, this is one that he's never won and all this stuff, but he just wouldn't throw one in just trying. Like, I think if he enters, he thinks he's going to win or at least have a great shot. And the one thing, though, if you're backing City of Troy, the one thing I could say that's a real positive is they've talked about running on the dirt for this horse ever since he got him. Like, they were talking about, oh, we're going to run maybe in the Triple Crown series. And that, he kind of got going late, couldn't do it. Then they're like, maybe it's going to be the Travers, which how cool would that be if he was in this race Saturday? Wow. But anyway, it didn't happen. But now it's the Classic. So part of me is like, well, they really want to do it. But the other part of me is like, I've heard this for a while now and they never have done it really. So I am a lot more like, hey, I think they're going to do it now than I was last week at this time. But at the same time, I'm still a little skeptical when the chips are actually down and we have to enter. They actually enter in the Classic. I still am skeptical.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, again, this time last year, I guess it was a little bit earlier, a couple weeks earlier, that we thought Cody's Wish was going to be the favorite of the Classic. And, obviously that didn't work out. So, so things change. We've still got time. We're going to figure out more, obviously, this weekend with the Travers heading into that race. But let's say this, so let's end it on this. Regardless, right? But like, man, Matt, like if he were to come over and win, I mean, Justify has to be and he's only, what is his second year breeding? I don't remember. He's got to be the best. Like he might be the best all-time sire already. Just the way he's producing sprinters and distance horses, turf, dirt, worldwide. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like that would be insane.
It would be him and Not This Time kind of would be the two, and it would be incredible if you could go. Well, listen, Aiden O'Brien said he's one of the best sires of the generation. So, and that was before, that was just when he got his hands on a couple of his 2-year-olds last year. So, yeah, I mean, he had the pedigree. Talking about Justify, they could run on the turf, right? I mean,
yeah.
So it's not shocking that his horses can run on the turf, but they also, can run on the dirt as well. And yeah, I mean, if you sire a horse like this that can win a Classic, and win a Group 1 on the turf and then come win the Breeders' Cup Classic, I mean, that's a hell of a horse. I'm going to tell you right now.
Can win 2-year-old sprints, can win 2-year-old distance rate. I mean, just across the board,
That's crazy. If that's what happens, that's insane.
It's just, I mean, and golly, I mean, he might be the first horse to ever reach like $500,000 or something for per kick there. You might be worth it. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, Aiden O'Brien saying those things. Aiden said that's the best horse he's ever trained. I mean, not Justified, but City of Troy. I mean, that's that, and he's trained some doozies. So
not bad, yeah.
And again, he's one of those guys. When he talks, you listen. He doesn't need to be, and he definitely has never been one of those guys to kind of like say what you want to hear. He'll tell you. So,
well, I remember when I was doing the studying up for the 2-year-olds that I thought might come over for the turf last year. City of Troy was the first one. I mean, he's all over the place when you start doing the research. And yeah, the first article I read, it's Aiden O'Brien saying this crazy shit about this horse. Like, he's like the best I've ever trained and he's unbelievable. And we're going to go win the Triple Crown. I mean, he didn't say that, but that's the confidence that he had, it was like, we'll run him on the dirt and the turf. He'll go everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think City of Troy's been a victim of his own hype. That's why I told John, because the race 2 back he won, John and I were both like, that wasn't like amazing. And I was like, though, if this guy hadn't said all this amazing stuff about the horse, we probably would be like, oh, that was great, Yeah. But again, yesterday, that was the horse I've been waiting for. That was a big time horse. That was like, whoa, he's really, really, really good. And I feel like we saw it as a 2-year-old, those brilliant races, but he was maybe beating horses that they were good, but they weren't like, cream of the crop. Yesterday, I love when a horse will just go out and take it to you. Like, he'd never really been on the lead. He just went out and got at the lead and said, you're not passing. He's starting to show us now who Aiden O'Brien thought he was.
Yeah, that kind of heart is going to go, and again, who's that remind you of? His dad a little bit, just keeps on rolling. So, yeah, it's going to, I mean, it could – you add him and you maybe add these Japanese runners and obviously some of our U.S. horses, maybe some of these 3-year-olds, Travers winner, whoever. It's going to be a hell of a Breeders' Cup. So It's going to be a hell of a Classic. We'll get to that, obviously, but this weekend, let's get to this weekend's racing. We are talking, of course, the $1.25 million DraftKings Travers at Saratoga. Then we'll give some rapid fire selections for the remaining major stakes races happening across the country, across the continent, I guess, with Charlestown, Del Mar, Saratoga, and Woodbine, including the $1 million Charlestown Classic. Let's go. It's funny to me that when I was getting ready for the show, it's funny to me that, and I don't have anything really against Charlestown, but like the Charlestown Classic is a grade 2, but some of these stakes races that are non-graded or grade 2, other grade 2s, even grade 3s. Like, how is it? To me, it should be at least like the very best should be a grade 3.
I don't really know what the grading people look at anymore, honestly. Like, a lot of it doesn't make sense to me. I was in the race before was the Oaks is a grade 2, and
I know, right?
Yeah, and I was like, that's odd. It's good. Like, I'd rather it be overgraded than undergraded, because at the end of the day, what does it really matter? You know?
Yeah.
As far as, I don't know. I just feel like the committee feels like they're this principle of horse racing, then we don't really need it. You know what I mean? Like, because it's like the Long Acres Mile. They took away their grading. Why would you do that? Like, why not let them have a grade 3? What is that going to hurt? I guess is what I'm saying. So
it's like you take away theirs, but you have Charlestown. Even if you want to keep the Classic, leave the Charlestown Oaks a grade 2.
I don't know.
Name the last horse that was really, really good that won the Charlestown grade 2 winner.
I forget who won the Charlestown Oaks as soon as they hit the wire. I don't know.
I forget that race exists every year
until it comes up on the entry box.
Exactly. Oh yeah, forgot they run that too. So
that's a good line. That was a good line.
Oh man. All right, Saturday at Saratoga. That's right. We will be there live. Hopefully, a lot of you listening will be as well. Race number 13. It's an insanely good card. The DraftKings Travers Stakes, grade 1, $1.25 million going a mile and a quarter for those 3-year-olds, of course, and not just 3-year-old boys, all the 3-year-olds, because we have the filly in here, Halterman, the Oaks winner, the CCA Oaks winner, Torpedo Anna at 3-1 on the morning line. We kind of all think that she'll go off as the favorite, but 3-1. I mean, really, there's not much in here that is missing. I mean, maybe a mind frame. Obviously, he's on the bench right now, but you got Fierceness, who is the Derby favorite in here. Of course, came off and bounced back in the Jim Dandy at 3-1. You got Dornock, who won the Belmont and the Haskell at 5-2. Sierra Leone, who does nothing but hit the board in all these big races, at 7-2. And then you got some of the new shooters, so to speak, the Unmatched Wisdoms, the Corporate Powers, batting down Anna Marie, who obviously had a pretty good campaign up until the Kentucky Derby. It's kind of everything you want for a 3-year-old test in the middle of the summer, and it really is shaped up to be an incredible race.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly kind of when we started talking about this. This was kind of the quote unquote dream, right? Let's get Torpedo Anna versus whoever at that time when we were talking about it, whatever male stamps himself as the best, which has been Dornock. So now you get it. And we got what we were hoping for, Torpedo Anna versus Dornock. You kind of look at it and you go, well, if it didn't have Torpedo Anna, yeah, it'd be exciting, but it would be just kind of another running of the Travers, which is great. But she puts it over the top. And that's not necessarily saying, well, then she's a lock to win or whatever. It's just a filly that's been very dominant against the boys, always puts it over the top. And so her being here is amazing. But when you really look at this, it looks pretty straightforward to me. There's 4 horses would not shock me at all if they won, and there's 4 horses that would be very surprising. So Torpedo Anna, Sierra Leone, Fierceness, and Dornock, if any of those 4 win, I'm not going to be shocked. There's positives and negatives that we'll go over with those horses. And then Unmatched Wisdom, Corporate Power, batting down Anna Marie. I'm not going to use the word shocked anymore because it's horse racing, but it would be surprising if one of them, and I'm talking about winning the race, gets up and actually wins. So when you look at it like that, and that's how I look at it, then it's like, okay, let's start to poke holes through those 4 that I think can win, and let's pick the one that we think has the best path to victory.
Well, I first want to go ahead and apologize. I see him in the chat, so I'm gonna go ahead and apologize to Curtis now, because if Dornoch loses here, well, let's just say if he doesn't run like 1-2, because if he loses to Torpedo Anna, then you're like, all right, well, I mean, he ran well. But if he like is kind of bounces, doesn't run well, then I am to blame, because I am officially a fan of Dornoch after all the hate that I've given him, and I'll be honest, I have tried to beat him multiple times. That last race, of course, mind frame kind of helped, right? He's just an idiot, and obviously maybe had some issues, but the heart, man, he's got so much heart, and he's gutty, he grinds, and that's, I mean, that, as you've known this for a long time about me. I love that kind of horse, just a horse that even if he doesn't win, like, I just love when a horse gets out there and just makes you come get it. And yeah, he's that kind of horse. So I do want to go ahead and apologize, because I'm not picking him to win this race. I am picking the filly to win, but I do think he'll run well. I got him second. I wouldn't be surprised if he won at all, really. Here's the thing, though. Let's look at kind of the numbers of this race. So Torpedo Anna, a filly. There's only been 4 horses that have tried to run in the fillies. I'm sorry, that have ran in the Travers since like 1960 or something. So it's not even a very Wonder Godot is like the last one to do it. And there's only been 7 ever to win the race. And dude, it's been over 100. It's been over a century since that happened. It was like 1916 or something, the last time a filly won this race. So in one regard, the numbers are certainly against her, right? But also, like, it's not tried really that often either. Like I said, 4 horses since 1960. So 4 horses in 63 years or whatever. Like, it's just not happened very often. So I don't necessarily, it's kind of one of those things like, yeah, wow, fillies can't win this race. Well, they don't really try either. So I think when you do have a horse that is trying, like a Torpedo Anna, you gotta pay attention to that.
Yeah, I mean, just the one horse you kind of talk about there, Wonder Godot, the last one to try it. Who do you think's better, Wonder Godot or Torpedo Anna? Right? Like,
yeah.
So it's like, I don't get too caught up in that. If there was a filly in the race every single year and they hadn't won since 1915, then I would be a lot more worried about it, right? Sometimes you try one just to try it, and sometimes one earns it, and this one's earned it. You also have to look at, the best filly, at least for a 3-year-old for our generation, was Rachel Alexandra, and she didn't try this race. She faced older horses the next week in the Woodward because she had already just won the Haskell. So, like, if she was in that Travers, I think she probably would have won it, right? So I don't worry about the history of it, because, like I said, it hasn't been tried all that much. I'm going to pick her as well, and I really have one concern about her. And it is what will happen when she goes to make her move and she's getting ready to go fly past everybody. And Dornoch says, well, you're not going to just fly by me by 3 lengths just like that. I'm going to run with you. What will she do? If she responds to the challenge, I am extremely confident she will win. But I'm not extremely confident she'll respond to the challenge. She has never been looked in the eye. And this is the horse, Dornoch, that has proven he's not going to give it up, right? Like, he will at least hang with you and beat you. Or if he doesn't beat you, if he's on that lead, he's going to make you work for it. So that's the key. Can she get eyeballed and respond? If the answer is yes, I think she wins. If the answer is no, I think it becomes, Dornoch, Fierceness, Sierra Leone, one of those 3.
Well, it's kind of, I'll continue on that sentiment a little bit. Her record speaks for herself. She's got 6 wins and 7 starts. The only loss was a 2nd place finish. She got kind of smoked in the Goldenrod, but again, that was the end of her 2-year-old season. Of course, obviously hasn't lost since. In her 6 wins, she's won by a combined 36 plus links. Okay. 36 links in 6 wins. You can do the average. 36 divided by 6. It's like 6 links. Okay. By average, she's winning by 6 links when she wins these races. So there's a couple different things. I think you're totally right. And that's my concern as well. Look at the courses, dude. Candied, Leslie's Rose, which, had her moments, I guess. Power Squeeze did come back to win, right? Last out. That was impressive. Just FYI, Regulatory Risk, West Omaha. I mean, these aren't the filly division. We think the 3-year-old division's rough, males, that are at least tough to figure out. The fillies are bad, and so it's kind of this combination of like, okay, well, she's killing them, but she's also facing nothing. But she's also never been out of like second gear in these races that she's winning. So you kind of have to figure out when you look at her, you just get, the talent. Is the talent there? Can she get the job done? Because here in this race, not only is she going to have to go get a Dornoch and kind of look him in the eye and be like, yeah, I'm going to go by you. But she's also going to be somewhat tested early in the race as well for a horse that likes to be close, somewhat close up to the pace. And you've got horses in here that will want to go, Batten Down goes, Dornoch's forwardly placed, Fierceness, we know his story with being forwardly placed, Unmatched Wisdom, of course, last time out. So can she have that kind of oomph late in the race to come get a horse like Dornoch after kind of obviously going a little bit probably faster than she's been going in these other filly races?
Yeah, I think she goes and gets them. I do. I think I will be extremely disappointed if she doesn't make a run at him or gets close to him. That to me would be like, well, and I vastly overrated her, right? And I'll be the first to say that if she gets beat 4 or 5 lengths and she's never really involved with, let's say, Dornoch, Fierceness, whoever is the winner, it's like, well, she wasn't good enough. And, I just feel like she will do what she does. And I've seen a lot of people saying, well, the pace it's going to be bad on her this time. I don't buy that because she's shown if the pace is fast, she'll just kind of back off a little bit. Right. Yep. And if the pace is slow, she'll be right up on it. So I don't really think, I fully realize that pace makes the race, and that's not something I'm trying to argue. I'm just kind of saying, I don't think the pace is really going to matter one way or another for her because she's shown versatility. So I'm not worried about it. To me, it's just when you go up, okay, let's just take, just FYI, who ran behind her or was ahead of her in the Acorn. When she wanted to go past Just FYI, it was like that. And Just FYI was like 3 behind. Well, you're not really getting tested down the lane, right? And same way with I think it was Leslie's Rose that was ahead, right? And it's like in the last race, it's like, she's gone. And it's like, well, there's nobody here. That's where it's going to be different. If she just goes like that and passes Dornoch at ahead by 3 lengths, my jaw will drop because to be clear, I don't think that's going to happen. But if she does, it's like, well, forget it. This is going to be an all-time performance, but it's not going to happen. That's when she's going to, to me, it's not up the backside. They're going to wear her down. No. It's when she makes that move and all of a sudden she's got to dig in to get to where she usually is. That's when you're going to get the question asked. And that's when you, me, Rodney, and everybody else listening, we don't have any clue what's going to happen because it's never happened before. If she responds, she will win. But that is going to be the major question, and we just don't know what she's going to do if it turns into a fight. And at some point in this race, she's going to have to fight off a horse. I'm confident of it.
That you look at her, like I completely agree with you, by the way. Like, I think honestly, a fast pace, has no impact and maybe even helps her. Like, because I think she's a good enough horse and a smart enough horse to where she, like you said, like, okay, go, that's fine, And so you go back and watch her first couple races, dude. She was a closer in the first one, Again, that was only 7 furlongs. She went to a mile the next race. Won from off the pace and won by 9. You kind of mentioned it, like, in the fantasy, she did it. She's she very rarely goes gate to wire. I think once in the Oaks, she went gate to wire. And that was really because the track she just went there and, didn't look back. But sometimes these good horses, they don't need there's some horses that are like, they're good, not great. And if the pace is there, then they'll, I think Sierra Leone is a perfect, he's that kind of horse. If the pace is there and it completely collapses, well, then he probably has a pretty good chance to win. If it doesn't, it's not like he can overcome that because he's just not. And to me, she's like, okay, well, if for whatever reason no one took the lead, she'd be like, all right, I'll go. And if they go 22 and 46 or something, she'd be like off of it a decent amount, and then come. So I think really, like you said, the question becomes when that real running comes, when we get into the turn, will she have it? Will she be able to say to the males, hey, I'm going to come get you now? So I think she will. Okay, so let me ask you this. Is she the best? Like, don't talk about will she answer? Will she do this? Will she do that? Is she the best horse in the race?
I think she has. I think she is the best. I think from a talent perspective, it's close, but I think her kind of versatility makes her the best because of the fact that she can go gate to wire if they go slow. Like say Dornoch breaks horrible and Fierceness is going to bounce, like he did, like he's known to do, and she falls on the lead. Well, she can win from there. But if they go fast, she can sit just off of them as well. So I think her versatility makes her the best horse in the race. Because you look at the other three horses, Dornoch, we know Dornoch needs a certain trip, and we've seen it. Like, you've seen it happen when he doesn't get the lead. He hasn't been great. So it's one of those situations. Now he can go fast and still run well in the stretch. So that's good for him, but he still is a little one-dimensional. Fierceness, we don't have to go through it. His best race, he's the best horse. His worst race, he's the worst horse. So the inconsistency is kind of a knock. And then look, Sierra Leone, I think Sierra Leone has an abundance of talent, but at the end of the day, like you got to be able to go get horses, and he just can't do it quite.
Yeah.
He is so far back that it's just so tough for him to win and beat a fresh horse like a Fierceness last time out, or a Dornoch in Mindframe in the Belmont. He's so far behind, and those horses that have ability to run late and sit closer, he's never going to be able to fully go get them unless they come back. So with Sierra Leone, he's very dependent on Dornoch, Torpedo Anna, Fierceness. They all need to start backing up in the stretch for him to actually go up there and beat them. And so that's my worry on him. So that's a long way of saying I do think she is the most talented horse in the group here. And if she's ready for the test, I think there's more left in her to go get the job done.
Yeah, I mean, to echo that, I do think you have to be a pretty good horse in order to make up the kind of ground Sierra Leone does consistently.
Yes.
Like good horses, and he does it, like I said, consistently. He's just not good enough to get to that one or two horse, you know what I mean? Like he gets up there, but you have to be good enough to do that, or else you wouldn't be a very good horse if you sometimes didn't fire, or he just is a victim of his own self, really.
Well, think of like, let's just take the Belmont for an example, because Dornoch was in there and he's in this one. He made up like 8 links on Dornoch, but when you got to make up 10, it doesn't do you any good to make up 8, right? And so that's what I think people are like. People have been commenting on the Travers video saying, I don't know why you disrespect Sierra Leone. It's like, that's bullshit. I'm not disrespecting him. I just watch him, and it's like, it's logic, guys. Like if you are running a race and you are well behind a guy that's ahead of you, you're not going to make up in the last 300 yards enough ground on that guy unless he starts walking.
Yeah.
And that's what it is with Sierra Leone. He's very talented. He's very fast. He needs help. He needs horses to slow down a little bit late for him to get all the way up and win.
All right, I'm gonna interrupt you real quick. We're loading into the gate here. We'll pivot back to Travers. We'll close it up, but we are gonna move forward here real quick to rapid fire in the Ballston Spa, which is getting in the gate right now. Race number 2 at Saratoga. Who do you got?
I picked Gina Romantica, but I was not great or not interested totally in this race. 3 Chad Browns, 1 Todd Pletcher. So
yeah, these races can be weird. Give me the 4 Butte Cachet, whatever the hell how you pronounce it. It's one of those races sometimes that don't run really necessarily like they probably should on paper.
Yeah,
I think the 4. I think with Tori back aboard, he's won with her a couple times going to the lead. I think he's going to try to do that here. Might try to steal it on the front end.
Yeah, let's see what happens. This should be a good race to watch, but again, it's just kind of anytime Brown has all these horses, it's just hard to decipher.
It's really annoying when you have a grade 2 Ballston Spa, which is a big race, and you have 4 horses and 3 of them are trained by the same trainer.
It's almost like going out in the morning and watching a workout.
Yep. All right. They break. The Tory is bound and determined to get the 4 on the lead, which he did. Had to use a little bit, though, to get her there. Again, there's not much to say about a 4-horse field. They're all right there running together.
These are the comments that I get on the YouTube. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying for him to actually win a race, those horses that are good horses that are ahead of him that don't slow down, it's really hard for him to catch him. I'm not saying he sucks. I'm not saying every horse had to back up for him to pass somebody. I'm saying when you got Dornoch and he doesn't quit in the lane and you're 10 lengths behind him, it's really tough to catch him. And I don't care if it's Zenyatta back there. It's really tough to catch those horses like that.
The Tory gave her a good breather there, but he's been kind of, I mean, obviously he's been pressed the whole time with these all bunched up, but he slowed it down that second half.
Romantica looks loaded.
Yeah.
But she's had trouble winning lately too, so we'll see.
Well, I don't, unless he's got something, unless he's saving something, the 4 is going to not fire.
Like you said, the 4s went fairly slow.
Yeah.
He's got something.
He's got something with her.
He's got him. He walked the dog with him.
5's going to try, though.
Yeah, this is going to get tight. I think 4 is going to hold on.
Oh, yep.
He's got a little extra. He got it.
Yeah. 5-2. I mean, that race kind of unfolded exactly like she's just not Gina, meaning like is just not good enough. And on top of that, she walked the dog, in front end. And it's like I said, it's a small field. It's weird. Like the pace is weird. So, all right. I want to touch back on that, Sierra Leone. I think the best way to say it, at least in my opinion, is like when you're giving up, say, 10 links, for him. Hang on, let me pull that back up. When you're giving up 10 links in a race, and like this to kind of allude, like the Derby, he was in 17th, 18th place early in the race. He was way back there. In the Belmont, even, he was 11 links back in 9th place. He was 8.5 links, 10 links back in the Jim Dandy. Okay. Like, I'm not making up these numbers. That's the number. That's where he was at. When you give that much to, like you said, to Dornoch, Fierceness, Mystic Dan, whoever it is, you're expecting all the some of them do have to come back, right? But you're expecting all of them to kind of give it up a little bit. Whereas with Dornoch's not going to give it up. He's shown that. Fierceness on that day wasn't giving it up. Mystic Dan wasn't giving up. Look at the Bluegrass. He had to go get Just a Touch, who obviously was a total fake, an epic ride. Okay. So I'm not saying he's not very good. I'm just saying for his style, I don't think he's good enough to go give up 10 links and go get Dornoch and go get Fierceness, who's whatever, So that's kind of the point I think you're making is it's when you give up that kind of distance or those links, you have to be somewhat world class to do it time and time again. And I just don't think he is.
Yeah. It's funny because I picked him in the Gin Dandy. I picked him in the Belmont. I picked him in the Bluegrass. I picked him in the Risen Star. I have nothing against him. I pick him a lot. But I knew going into the Jim Dandy, he would not beat Fierceness if Fierceness ran one of his better versions of his race. Because he's never going to do that. But in this situation, if Fierceness and Dornoch battle and go head to head, and Fierceness does what he does when he goes head to head with the horse and just kind of quits, but it softens Dornoch up to where that last 100 yards he's running slower than he usually does. And Torpedo Anna, maybe she's just not quite as good as we think. Well, then Sierra Leone's going to win. As I said at the beginning, Sierra Leone winning is not a shock to me at all. He is very good. but he is the one of the four, the one of the four horses. His path to victory is the toughest of the four.
Yep.
And until I really thought, just not to harp on him, but when Flavian Pratt got aboard him, I thought, okay, I've seen Flavian do this. He's not going to be 10 behind today. I'm not going to be shocked at all if he's in the middle of the pack. And if he could sit in the middle and make that same run, he would win a lot of races, because sitting 3 lengths closer would probably be the difference between winning and losing all these races, these big races that he's lost. But when Flavian got on him and he was even further back in the Belmont, and then you saw the Jim Dandy, it was the same thing. You start to realize, okay, he's just not capable. And then it just becomes, he kind of is who he is.
Yeah. You look at these paths. I mean, a lot of these, Dornock has been, he's been running, the Fountain Youth, the Bluegrass, the Derby, the Belmont, the Haskell. Same with Sierra Leone. He's ran in, the Dandy, the Belmont, the Derby, the Bluegrass. He's ran, and by the way, like mile and quarter races, like long races. So it's like, do you think there's any edge to like, hey, Unmatched Wisdom, he's lightly raced, Corporate Power, he's somewhat lightly raced, Batten Down has kind of figured it out. At least he did the Jim Dandy, but maybe Honor Marie, who's coming off a little bit of layoff. Like, do you think some of these horses that have kind of been running up against a lot of big races, Dornock has had to fight his ass off against Mindframe 2 races in a row. Do you think that it could have a wear on them to where some of these new shooters could have kind of take advantage of that?
I don't think the new shooters will, but I do think the wear and tear on Dornock is a real thing. And I do think horses like Torpedo Anna, Sierra Leone, Fierceness could take advantage, because horses that win the Haskell very rarely go on to win the Travers. And it's a very tough thing to do. Now, it's not tried as much as like a Triple Crown or stuff like that, but that is not easy. Point Given was the last horse to do it, to win the Haskell and then win the Travers. We've seen horses like American Pharoah get beat in the Travers after winning the Haskell. Cyberknife. It's a tough thing to do. It's tough to go win them both. So I think Dornock out of the big four is the one that's, well, I shouldn't say most likely, because you never know what Fierceness is going to do, but from wear and tear specifically, there's kind of an excuse built in for Dornock. He's ran 2 huge ones in a row, and it's historically, it shows it's tough. But the problem is, like, the lightly raced horses or the new shooters, I just don't think they're very good. So I don't think they're ones that are going to take advantage of maybe the top 4 bouncing or whatever. I just don't like 3, 4, 5, and 6 that well. I just think they're a little bit of cut below. And you know what? We talked about Batten Down going into the Jim Dandy. It was like, okay, this is a really nice test for him. Let's see if he can step up. He wasn't anywhere close. So yeah. I just kind of think they're all kind of grouped together. Now, the flip side of it is, if you would ask me, Kentucky Derby, Preakness, Belmont, you name some horses that would surprise you if they won. Mystic Dan and Seize the Gray and Dornock, those days, they would have surprised me. They would have been on the surprise list. So it's not like I'm not surprised at horse racing. I am daily, right?
Well, I just think, I mean, especially with horses like Dornock, Dornock, Sierra Leone, because like Sierra Leone has to run his balls off every time just to get up there. And then Dornock has had to, whenever, Torpedo Ann has been running multiple races, obviously, the Fantasy, the Oaks, the Acorns, but it's like she's just cruising, right? Yeah. So there's a difference between those kind of races and one that ran so hard to get there, to get to the white. So you kind of wonder at some point maybe it does catch up to them, but again, it's impossible sometimes to. And I kind of agree with Curtis. Like it definitely feels like, I would argue that Dornock is better now than he was. Well, not argue. It's pretty clear that he's raced himself into this where he is now, right? Because I don't think he was very good early in his 3-year-old year, and look what he's turning into. So, because there was talk after the Belmont, I think, right, where it was like, we're not going to do much. We're not going to the Haskell. And then it was like, well, no, we're going to do the Haskell now. And so it's like, I think they kind of wanted to run him into shape, and Pharoah couldn't do it. I mean, it's a tough thing to do, to win the Haskell and win this. Really, the horse that's going to piss me off more than anything, and he will for the rest of his career, is Fierceness, because for two guys that were all over him in the Derby, and to see the Jim Dandy trip, you're like, yeah, that's what I thought I was getting when I got the Derby. Form wise, he's due to bounce, right? If you look at his form, it's every other race. It's win the Maiden, bounce in the Champagne, win the Breeders' Cup, bounce in the Holy Bull, dominate the Florida Derby, bounce in the Derby, win the Jim Dandy, should be a bounce.
I just put him on a ticket and go on. I don't even handicap him anymore.
No, you don't.
You just don't know. It's like people were super pissed. It's like, you can't play Sierra Leone and Fierceness on the sequence. I was like, every sequence is not the same. I understand your point with the positive EV and all the shit you read on Twitter. Every sequence is not the same, period. I cashed a pick 5 ticket, and by the rules of EV, I wouldn't that day because Sierra Leone was a top pick. You got to pick one or the other. Not when there's certain horses, you just throw them on. You don't worry about that stuff. You don't have to. It isn't just cookie cutter every single time. And my dad and I talked about it that day. We were like, look, yeah, we know it's wrong to do it, but you don't leave him off, because when he runs his best race, he's better than these horses. I could say that with like total confidence. Just throw it out there, total confidence.
All right. Who's your pick?
I picked Torpedo Anna. I put Dornoch second, just like you. I think we're exact same on the top 2 here. Again, I'm with you. Like, I've gained a lot of respect for Dornoch. I really thought the Haskell kind of showed, okay, the Belmont was no fluke. This is the real deal. And Dornoch and the reason I'm scared for Torpedo Anna is Dornoch kind of got passed twice in that race. It still came back and won. And so that is like, he is, for a horse like Torpedo Anna that's never been tested, Dornoch is like your worst nightmare for what you write, because she's going to get tested. He's not going to quit. So, but again,
without him in the race, you'd be like, well, Fierceness, he's going to, whatever. At Sierra Leone, he'll be, the gate still when she, so it's like, then you got a bunch of new shooters and whatever. With him in the race, you're like, oh, shit. Like, she's going to have to really bring it.
To me, it's like, yeah, if she looks Fierceness in the eye, he will cry. and what you just said, if she's as good as I think she is, I think Sierra Leone won't ever really get to her. And so then it means, okay, when we get to Torpedo Anna, what's going to happen? So, or when we get to Dornoch with Torpedo Anna, what's going to happen? And I don't know.
Well, I pray, honestly, and if it's not Dornoch, I hope it's Sierra Leone, or even if it's Fierceness or whoever, I hope that at least one of them is right there and we see her fire and give her best shot, and we hit the top of the stretch and we say, oh boy, here we go. We got a horse race, and we're going to see if she can come get it. And that's my hope. I think that would be just an insanely good Travers. I'm going the filly here as well. I just, I've liked her really since the Oaks. Whenever I was like, oh shit, that was impressive. You could just see that she's a little different. She's very talented. I think she can get the job done here. This is a huge race, not just for, it's, obviously a big purse, and there's a ton on the line in this race for these horses. You have 3-year-old of the year honors on the line. Dornoch could lock it up for sure with the 3-year-old with the win here. Fierceness, even to say what you want about him, if he were to win here, he would be a strong candidate to win the 3-year-old male honors. Torpedo Anna, obviously she's locked up the filly side, but my goodness, if she were to win here, horse of the year is in big time play for her as well. So there is a lot. And even a horse like Sierra Leone, he's not completely out of it from a 3-year-old standpoint. If he were to win a race like this and kind of finish off the year as in kind of good form, he can make a case for it as well. It's a huge, the Travers is like the Derby. It's a huge resume race. If Torpedo Anna wins here, she is, in my opinion, leading candidate for horse of the year. And that's insane because she's a 3-year-old filly.
I think Dornoch is the leading candidate for horse of the year if he wins. How about that?
I don't think that's wrong to, winning the Belmont, winning the Haskell, winning the Travers. Yeah, that's fair.
And then the flip side of it is, if a horse like Fierceness wins, Dornoch all of a sudden has a little bit of company for 3-year-old of the year even. And I think he'd still be the top choice after, but it would get very close, and then it would come down to, Pennsylvania Derby and the Breeders' Cup. So there's, like you said it right. There's a ton on the line for all these horses. Like it's still not too late for Sarah Leone to maybe make a late run at it if he can get a couple wins. So nothing is decided, and that's what makes a race like the Travers fun.
So I disagree, Kelly. I think so. Let's just in that department. Let's say City of Troy wins the Classic. And then let's also say Torpedo Anna wins this race, wins whatever Philly race, and then wins the distaff. Okay, that's her end of the year. She won the Oaks. She won the CCA Oaks. She won the Acorn. She won the Travers. She won name a race, and then she won the Breeders' Cup distaff. You tell me that's not horse of the year over City of Troy. So I mean, I just think you have to be careful with the assumption that the horse of the year will come from the Classic.
I think it's very unlikely the horse of the year does come from the Classic unless it's one of these horses that we just talked about that won the Classic. Because the problem is, I'll still say that because the older horses just don't have a great resume. And then, like I said, you got the Japan situation, you got the City of Troy situation. Like, what older horse, if they win the Classic, is like a shoe-in for horse of the year? Like Buscador, maybe? Senior Buscador? He would probably have a shot. National Treasure, after he lost, maybe if he came back and won. I mean, there's a way. There's a way the Classic winner still wins horse of the year. Yeah.
It would become, especially, and obviously it would be, that's what makes it so hard with fillies, certainly 3-year-old fillies, because there's just so little room for error, when it comes to that honor. Because, say she won this race, the Travers, and then say she got second or third in the distaff, and then say National Treasure or, Senior Busca or whoever won the Classic. That's probably unfair because that's a huge year for her, but that's where I would see the Classic winner. A lot of people would vote the older male versus her.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like she's kind of got to run the table. To do it.
I think this race is just massive for her. But yeah, I still think you're right. She's probably have to do one more to lock it up completely. And look, I mean, I think some years at this point in time, you kind of know, Classic's going to be for horse of the year. Whoever wins, that's going to get it most likely. But this year reminds me a lot of last year. Last year, it was like, well, even if White Barrio wins, can you make him the horse of the year? And the voters just kind of they didn't want to do that. They were searching for somebody else, and Cody's Wish kind of fell into their lap with that story. And I think that's going to be, again, it just depends. If Dornock or Torpedo Anna goes on and wins the Breeders' Cup Classic after this, well, then this is a moot point. But if it is a White Barrio-ish type of winner, I think the voters will try to look elsewhere again this year as well.
Well, there you go. Well, we could talk all about the storylines, but why not just watch them play out this weekend at Saratoga? We'll be there. Hopefully some of you will be there. 6:10 Eastern post time. The filly goes up against Dornock and the boys in the Travers. We'll see if she can get it done. Can't wait. That's one of those races, folks, that, I don't know, if some of you need money on a race, but that's one of those races you could have $0 for me personally, have $0 on the race, sitting on the rail and be nervous, just totally nervous watching to see, it's a horse race, man. And we always tell people, you got to go to Saratoga. You got to go to Saratoga. They have the best racing. This is why.
It's for me personally, and I don't want to argue. It could be different for other people. For me personally, it's the one I'm looking forward to the most all year. I think it's because I get Derby Preakness wasn't great, but the Derby and the Belmont, they were great, right? But especially the Belmont, you left going, boy, what would that have happened if that filly would have been there? And now you fast forward and she's there, and we've got the Belmont winner, and we've got the Belmont third place finisher. So in substitute for Mind Frame, you've got Fierceness, So I think it's the best race of the year. Yeah, Dennis, I do.
Well, and the Derby is it really is. I mean, the Derby's fun and it's just a spectacle for sure. But from a production standpoint, it's really turning into more of a fluky type of race. And yeah, some years it's not, but like you don't they're 3-year-olds early in their year, just turning 3. And so you're not getting, like you said, you're not getting the, no filly is like, we're aiming to the Derby, like we're going to the Oaks. That's what you do. But here it's like, oh, well, okay. Like you feel like these horses are more established. They are what they are. We know all about them. They are kind of running at their peak of the year. And so you do kind of get the best of the best, so to speak, in the Travers versus the Derby. So, and you don't have 20 freaking horses in the race where horses get squeezed out and a horse draws a rail and, whatever. So it's a more kind of legitimate race, in my opinion. So,
I love the Kentucky Derby, but I also hate it. And part of it is what you're talking about, where it's just, it has a tendency, not every year, like you said, but a lot of years, even when you get a horse that's a really good horse that wins it, it's just such an odd race. It's oddly run. The trips are odd. It's just a weird race. And so you love the buildup and the excitement, and then they run it, and it's almost like, well, that was dumb, you just go on. So I don't know. I enjoy this race a little bit more, honestly.
Honestly, Rodney, I think that's like that's the backdoor route to Horse of the Year. If you said that path right there, because we saw it with White Abario. Remember that? When he didn't win, but he was nominated, I guess, because of Cody's wish. But he probably should have, right? But no, did he win that year?
No.
That was last year, right?
That was last year, Cody's wish. Yeah.
Dude, why does that feel like 2 years ago?
Because he's old.
But you win the Whitney, the Jockey Club, and the Classic. I mean, again, I think she will dictate things. Meaning, if she were to win the Travers, she is in the driver's seat, and so if she runs the table, I don't think even that scenario causes her to lose it. But like I said, the margin's so razor thin for her that if that scenario happens and she has a hiccup or she doesn't even win the Travers, then yeah, I mean, why? I definitely don't think.
Yep.
Yeah, Kevin, I am. It's been a week, man. The boys started school. I've got drama in the sports organizations. I'll talk about that here coming up here at the end. So yeah, it's been a week. That's fair, Dennis. Some weeks I have it. Most weeks I don't. All right, let's time for
Dennis would know something about not having it, by the way.
Dennis does?
Yeah. He knows a lot about not having it. He's never had it.
Yeah, what's that like, Dennis? I mean, is there anything I should be looking for? You're used to it. How do you get out your day-to-day activities? Because I could help.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments.
The Falcons turtle. Oh yeah. All right, time for rapid fire, guys. Presented by the Travers Stakes 2024 Betting Bible. Go get your hands on that. It is available right now at racingdudes.com. On the products page, it's got everything you want to make a bet on the Travers or any race, a 14 race card on Travers Day at Saratoga. Halter and I have put a ton of work into this, as well as the rest of the team. We've got all top 4 plays from everybody on the team at racingdudes.com. We also have Halterman and I's picks from every race, how we're playing exactas, trifectas, long shots, best bets. And on top of that, we've brought back the bankroll. And so we're going to show you exactly who we're playing in each race, who we're actually playing in each race, our top play out of each race, and as well as the bankroll percentage that we want or we're suggesting you should play. So it's a new little addition. We think it's the best the one we've ever done. So make sure you go get the Travers betting Bible right now at racingnews.com. It is for free if you are a premium subscriber. All right, Friday racing. We'll start off here at Charlestown. That's right, the grade 2, of course, the grade 2 Charlestown Oaks. We're $750,000, 7 furlongs for fillies, 3-year-olds, field of 10. Showing up here, Halterman, my main squeeze at 3-1, 7-2 on Hall and Ice, which is a great name. Impel at 5-1, Roswell 6-1. Where are you going?
Yeah, like I said, nice grade 2 race here. This is a little bit of a mess. I wouldn't be shocked if there's a little bit of an upset here. I went back and forth a little bit. End of the day, though, I did keep circling back to my main squeeze. I just think this is the horse that, taking a little bit of a drop, obviously in class. I just think this one makes a lot of sense. If you can win the 8 bells, you can come out here and win this race, right? Or 2 races back in the Acorn, really tough test, obviously taking on Torpedo Anna. And then in the test, ran a good third, but Ways and Means was just too good. So I kind of look at it and go, well, if Ways and Means was in this race, I think she would be a pretty easy winner. My main squeeze was 4.5 behind. I think she bounces out and wins this one. So give me the number 10, my main squeeze.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I had her on top really the whole time until I kind of kept circling back to, I'm like, well, is she, I know she's got the class relief and obviously the 8 bells. I mean, if she can win that, like you said, she should win here. But I kind of going with the horse that kind of looks like the new kind of up and comer from this, at least from this race. And that's the 4 Hall and Ice now with Safi Joseph. And look who's coming out to ride. Irad is coming out to ride for Safi. And, this horse was trained previously and went to Safi, finished second the next start, and then last time out, Gulfstream just absolutely crushed them, won by almost 10 lengths that day. Feels like a horse that may just try to go to the lead and just not look back, or at least be very forwardly placed, and we'll have to try to come and get her. So kind of give me the horse that's so to speak up and coming. I liked Mystic Lake too a little bit. I kind of kept deciding that seems like another horse that could go to the lead and try to dictate things with Mike Smith, but give me the other one, Hall and Ice. That's a cool name. That's right. That's one of those I'm surprised. I guess you could be like, yeah, that's what we didn't mean anything by that. Hall and Ice. We're Hall and Ice, All right, let's go to the next one. Race number 11, the Charlestown Classic, grade $2 million, mile and eighth for the 3-year-olds and up. Go a field of 10. Lines up here. And speaking of Safi, how about trying to do a repeat winner with Skippy Longstocking, the 7 horse, your even money favorite, Bindug for Bill Mott at 7-2. Those seem to be the 2 very clear horses to beat. Where are you going?
Yeah, shouldn't Skippy win this race? Like, I just don't see that he shouldn't. He's in it with his friends again, obviously, and these are the horses that he can handle. I get Bindug if you want to take a shot with him, but I think Skippy's just a little bit better than this group. So yeah, I kept it simple. I went Skippy Longstocking. I think if he shows up at that race that he did last time out, or last year, I should say, in Charlestown Classic, I think he wins. So give me Skippy.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those, man, that I looked at. And I'm like, I really don't want to pick him. He's even money, but it's also kind of a little bit to what your point was with the 10 in the last race. Only this one's better, I think, because we have this like he can actually win at other places. He just doesn't do it as often. But he's the Oakland Handicap winner. He third in the Stephen Foster, 5th in the Whitney. I mean, we talked about Arthur's Ride being possible horse of the year. I mean, he got smoked by him, but like if he can. And of course, he won this race last year, finished 3rd in the Breeders' Cup to Cody's Wish, National Treasure. Like, if he can do all those things. And he kind of showed it, right? Because he's always been that kind of horse that ran in these big races and they came here. And honestly, he went to, he's not usually on the lead, at least not lately anyways, but he gets close. That time he's just like, you know what? See ya. I'm better than the rest of these. So, and I don't know that it's different. I think the 5 is somewhat interesting, a little bit of a class relief himself after that Suburban, but ran to Croupy. But I think he's consistent. He's going to have to face that one. He's going to have to battle the 5, I think. But give me the repeater, man. I don't love it, but that's what I think he's going to win, right? So that's the pick. Number 7. Skippy Longstocking. Did you take any thought into talking about McPeak on the weekend? Do you like that Frosted Departure, man? That last race came seemingly out of nowhere, but 3 of the last 4, this horse has gone to the lead and really not looked back.
I think I'm going to probably put him in second. I think he's definitely one to look at. 12-1. I don't know if we're going to get that or not, but the horse kind of has Charlestown written all over him a little bit. When they tried Tougher Company, he doesn't really run all that well. So get him here. I thought about him, but doesn't it kind of feel like he's going to maybe get in front and Skippy's going to stalk him, and then Skippy's just a better horse? That's how I kind of saw it.
Yeah, I think it. I mean, I just don't trust him really at that price. I mean, I trust him at 12-1. I don't think he's going to be 12-1, and so. If I could book 12-1, I would probably play him because I do think like if he runs one of those races where he goes gate to wire, he might be tough.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see it. Give me Skippy. I think he in that sequence, honestly, you might have to single him. All right, let's go to let's see. Friday. We'll stay Friday. We'll go to Saratoga now for race 10, the personal Ensign. It's a grade 1, $500,000 going 1.8 miles for the fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up. We get a field of 5, but not really nothing to complain about because you've got the rematch with Idiomatic and Randomized. You also have Raging Sea, who's just kind of looked good as of late. Soul of Angel and Zera at 10-1. It's really, though, the way I looked at it, it's like, okay, it's a rematch between the 4 and the 5. Do you think it's going to, in the same way as it did last time, or are you going to go back to Idiomatic?
Are you as like, I'm really, sometimes the shorter fields make you the worst or the most confused. I'm just really unsure what to do in this one. I do think Idiomatic or Randomized will win. I think it's one of those two. Dennis just says this race sucks. I totally agree. When you look at what happened when Randomized beat Idiomatic at Saratoga, it was more of just Idiomatic. A bunch of little things went wrong, and she just didn't get the positioning. She got a really awkward trip, or Randomized didn't. And it was almost one of those races like, if they ran that again, I think Idiomatic would beat her. You didn't feel like it was like an emphatic win and like, oh, she's past her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I definitely thought, okay, the rematch, I'll take Idiomatic. But then Idiomatic went down to the Jersey Shore and ran an awful race against awful horses. Still won, but she was really not good that day. And it's just like, if she runs that, she's probably going to run last in this race, But
yeah.
Then you get to talking to yourself almost this race. It's like, she's not going to be that bad again, right?
You talk. It's literally you talk yourself in circles with this one.
Yeah, and I hate it. My other problem is up before the Molly pitcher, I kind of thought Idiomatic was running about like she was last year. Good, not great, but really good and probably better than anything that she would have to really go against until maybe the Breeders' Cup or if she ran into a monster or whatever. But she was going to beat those horses that she had been beating. And then again, you saw that Molly pitcher and you're like, oh, that's gross. Just gross. Disgusting. I went with Idiomatic again because I just feel like she can't be as bad as what she was last time out. Maybe something happened, but I just feel like all of her other races are good enough or she's better than these horses. So I'm just gonna try to turn a blind eye to that last one. And the other thing is, like, she's done so much. I don't feel like they'd throw her in here if they thought something was wrong with her. Right. So I'll take Idiomatic. I'm not excited about this race at all.
It's such an odd race. Like, you don't see this very often in these small fields where it's like you said, it literally, you feel like that gif where the guy's like, his brain's like all frazzled because it's just like, well, so you look back, it's like, well, not that long ago, Randomized ran really well in the Breeders' Cup Distaff, and who'd you get beat by? Idiomatic. Okay. Then you go back to the next race, Soul of an Angel beats Randomized in the Ruffian. Well, who did Idiomatic beat last time out? Soul of an Angel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well then the last race for Randomized, the Ogden Phipps, she beat Idiomatic. So it's like, it's just, they're all like intertwined and they all have like, you don't have any of those cases of like, it's like, it really makes no sense other than the fact, listen, Idiomatic has been awesome. I do wonder if she's lost a step, but at the end of the day, she's won 11 of 15 in her lifetime. She's won like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the last 8 races. Her one loss did come to that was randomized. So we'll see. I'm going to take her again here. Idiomatic, that is. I don't love it. Absolutely no chance am I singling her. Probably means Raging Sea is going to win. But I guess I'll go Idiomatic. I don't love it, though.
It's so funny how racing, things change so rapidly in racing. I remember when they crossed the wire, I said, there'll be a race coming up. It's called the Personal Ensign. It'll be on Travers Day. These two will match up again, and Idiomatic will beat her that day. I was very confident of it. And then, like you said, you go down and run in a race where you should win pretty easily, and you almost get beat. And then you come back, and it's like, well, I guess I'll stick with my original plan, but it doesn't sound near as good as it did that day. Anyway.
Yeah, it's and for what it's worth, it does kind of feel like, Cox is winning a little bit better now than he was earlier in the Saratoga meet. So we'll see if maybe he's got some things figured out. But yeah, Idiomatic for me. Let's we'll close our eyes and watch that one together. All right, let's we're gonna go to Woodbine. We already talked about this last week, but we'll do it at the airport, ultimately. We'll just close our eyes and watch. You watch for me. You tell me what happens. We're going to go back to Woodbine. We've already talked about these races. I don't know. I just wanted to touch on them one more time. So they are going to run this Friday or tomorrow. The King Edward, which is race number 7. I think who did you pick in this race?
Yeah, I picked the favorite. Well, I think we both picked the 8. We're like, we don't love this horse, but she probably just a little bit, or he's probably just a little bit better than this group.
Yep, I stuck with it, and I'm going to stick with it as well. I just don't. I love that there's all they didn't try to make this more complicated than it needed to be. They just left the horses in the same positions, no redrawing, no. All he changed was the race numbers, and that's it. Let's go to the King's Plate, which is race number 9 on Friday, $1 million race, of course. Big field of 13, 7-5 on My Boy Prince versus the 3 Essex Serpent. That was the kind of the battle between the Cassies. I believe you went My Boy Prince. Is that right?
Yeah, I went with My Boy Prince. I'm pretty excited about this horse. He's been awfully good when coming up here. But look, the distance is always going to be a question mark when you get it to this race up in Canada. And there are some other horses that, maybe they handle a little bit better, but I do like the 7 My Boy Prince. I think he's the best horse.
I think it's those 2. Obviously, I went with the 3, the other Cassie Essex Serpent. Was looking forward to watching him run, and then it got canceled. So we'll find out which one is the best. I do think the My Boy Prince horse is maybe overall maybe the better horse, and obviously has shown that. But I think in this race at this distance, I like the 3 Essex Serpent. You think are they actually going to run this one for sure?
I hope so.
I mean, it'd be a miracle if they got if no scratches occurred. I don't see how that's possible, but maybe you know more than I do. But to have all the horses just wait another week and be okay with it, that's pretty rare.
I hated that for them because, a track like Woodbine, now they've got a couple other big days, but those smaller tracks, when they have those big days, you want them to go without a hiccup, right? Because it's their day. And then to that happen, it does suck.
But, honestly, they made the best decision that it could possibly. Well, one, they didn't, they tried. And then it's rather than having horses scratch and obviously the fear of horses getting hurt or whatever, now you at least get another try at it, hopefully because of the planning of it. They didn't just put it on the next day. Now you have a week advance. Now, hopefully horses don't scratch, though, but that people will just say, okay, well, today's King's Plate day. So we'll see on Friday. All right, we're going to move to a couple more races here on Saturday. The Pat O'Brien at Del Mar on Saturday, race number 9. It's grade 2 or 250K, 7 furlongs for 3-year-olds and up. It is a Breeders' Cup when you're in for the Big S Fans Dirt Mile. And we got a field of 8 here and some rematches. But look who's in the field, Halterman. Number 7, Senior Buscador, making his return back at 7 furlongs against who else? The 6, the beast out west, the Bing Crosby winner last out. Number 6, the Chosen Veron. So what a race to come back for if you're Senior Buscador, who clearly wants to go longer.
Yeah, it's certainly kind of feels to me like we're just getting a race under his belt, getting him ready for, the California Crown or whatever they're calling that out at Santa Anita. And then, of course, the Breeders' Cup Classic as well. So I feel like it's just we got to get him a race. This is a good spot. He's ran in this race before, believe it or not. And he didn't do too bad, but he kind of did what you thought, run late, hit the board. I think that's what you could see from him. I think it's the Chosen Veron all the way. I mean, obviously, very, 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 very tough horse. to beat out here in Southern California. I will say the 3-year-old Raging Torrent, that's an interesting horse, very fast. And I think that's who the Chosen Vron's biggest challenger will be in here. The Raging Torrent, like I said, it is a 3-year-old taking on older, but it's a very fast horse out of the gate. And I think that's who they're going to have to come get. But give me the Chosen Vron.
Yeah, I think. I could see Senior Buscador being like an automatic hit the board type, but because they're just off the bench. Haven't seen him since March. Running a mile and an eighth, mile and a quarter races. Obviously, this is more of a classic horse, so you got to think he'll show up late if at all. But yeah, I mean, facing the Chosen Brawn is just going to be quite. The Bing Crosby was, I mean, it's been a horse that has been kind of, he did win Bing Crosby last year, so he repeat winner, but for the most part, been a horse that runs really well in these stakes races, these Calbred stakes and smaller level, and then when it comes to the big ones, isn't quite good enough. But man, was he good enough last time out. So give me the Chosen Vron. He's got 3 wins at this distance and 6 starts. He loves himself some Del Mar, 4 wins and 6 starts. Give me the Chosen Vron to come get Raging Torrent late in the race. Play that exacted cold. I like it. All right. Last up, let's finally cap this off. We're going to go to Saturday. After all, we're going to go. We started Saturday at Saratoga. We're going to end it at Saratoga on Saturday. Just going to talk about the 2 Breeders' Cup races. Of course, if you want analysis for all the stakes action, the whole card, you'll get the betting Bible right now. Well, as soon as this is over. Race number 9, the Sword Dancer. It's a grade 1, 750K, going 1 1/2 miles on the inner turf for 4-year-olds and up, field of 6. And this is kind of the theme of these stakes races on Saturday, where you've got, it's hard to kind of lean on one horse because you've got not one, but 2 Appleby horses, and both are very, very good Appleby horses. Measure Time with William Buick aboard at 7-5 versus Silver Knot with Pratt aboard at even money. Who you got?
I really loved Measured Time. Last time he came over here on Belmont Day, and he didn't disappoint. He was fantastic. And I can't go against him here, even though Silver Knot has been very impressive. I think Measured Time is a little bit better. So I went number 2, Measured Time on top. Would not be shocked if either one of them won, but I thought Measured Time was just really, really good that last race, and I think he'll do it again on Saturday.
I mean, honestly, it's as close to a coin flip as it gets. I mean, you have 2 Appleby horses. Appleby obviously is very, very good over here. And they're both incredibly talented horses. Silver Knot, to me, has just started off his career over here as a Breeders' Cup juvenile and had the hype, and then kind of we're like, what happened to him? And then whatever reason, maybe Pratt, I don't know, but once he jumped aboard and timing, the horse is kind of like, you and I were talking about it the other day. It's like Silver Knot kind of feels like he's a Silver Knot that we all thought he was going to be as a 2-year-old. And he's finally doing that. So give me Silver Knot. I just think he's the hot horse out of that. But I mean, listen, there's going to be absolutely 0.0% chance that I'm going to be shocked if it's the other Appleby or whatever. If it's not one of them, I'd be pretty surprised. Although I do like Soldier Rising, I do like Far Bridge, I like these horses. I just don't think they're good enough to beat both of the Appleby horses. So, but I'm going to go the Silver Knot route. I am a little surprised. I don't know about you. Did you think that Measure Time would be the favorite?
I did, but I don't have a huge argument against making Silver Knot. I think it's close, but I did think Measure Time would be the favorite. Yeah,
I kind of thought with just Buick being on that one, maybe that's where out they would go.
Same.
But maybe they end up being that way. But all right, let's go to the last one here, the Ballerina. It's race number 10. It is a win and you're in. That was for the turf, by the way, the Sword Dancer, the Longines turf. This is for the filly and mare sprint. 500K, 7 furlongs for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, field of 8. Shows up here. And we've got another situation, Alterman, where you've got Vava at 3, the 3-horse Vava at even money versus Celia at 5, the 5-horse at 7-2. A little surprised there as well on the discrepancy of those odds. I thought they'd be closer together, but where are you going?
Yeah, I debated this one for a while. I ended up taking Vava. I just kind of feel like this is her thing for Cilia, who's cutting back and they're just trying it out. But I told you, I have visions of Jackie's Warriors, Cody's Wish in my head. You know, when Jackie's Warrior was a big favorite in a 7 furlong race on Travers Day. And it's like, Cody's Wish, wonder what, 7 furlongs. That's weird. And then he just smoked him. So I could see Cilia doing it again. But I think I'm going to go with the specialist, Vava, to win it. 7 furlongs is definitely a specialist distance. And we know Vava is really good there. Where, when you look at Cilia, we know she's very good. I don't know about the 7 furlongs. That's kind of an interesting idea, but hard to question Mott as well.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely. Cilia's got 5 Bob's got 5 wins and 7 starts at this distance. 2 of the other 2 were seconds. I mean, again, like you talk about specialists, she's the definition of a 7 furlong specialist, no doubt about it. I like the odds, honestly, because I went with 5 Cilia because, you look at this as a horse of Clement Hirsch. She got second to Dare Manor, who was awesome that day and really probably should have won the race. So to me, it's like she's not ran. I like the fact that it's not like she's ran bad, dude. At mile 16, she won the Shawnee. She won the grade 2 Fleur de Lis, and then she got second to a Dare Manor, who just ran her eyeballs out. So it's not like she's running 5th and up the track and they're just like, well, I guess let's try it back. So to me, this feels like a very precise route to be like, now this is where we're going to run her, And so for that reason, I'm taking the 5. I think her talent is there. It's just maybe, and that kind of adds a little bit more umph from her late in the race. So I think it's going to be another one, man. I think it's going to be, she's going to have to come and try to get, I think, the 3, and we're going to see how this thing plays out. But give me the 5, Cilia. It definitely has that feel, and I don't know how you guys are feeling about the card. I mean, I think the card's incredible, but just from a betting standpoint, it's a tough you have to kind of make some decisions. It's like, well, I really like both of them, but I got a single somewhere, and so like you kind of alluded to it the other day. You're like, well, I like both the Applebee's, but in some ways I have to, just based on how the sequences play out, I might have to single one of them just to get through that sequence,
Yeah, I like to play the pick 5s for under $100. So sometimes you read a sequence that has a race involved in it. It's like, I'd love to play 2, but I just got to go with 1. And then sometimes that same race will be in a different sequence. And you're like, okay, I can use 2 here because I can go shorter somewhere else. So
yeah,
it's funny. Yeah. You said, you asked me, it's like, are you singling or are you just using both? I was like, it depends. So sometimes you single and sometimes you use both. And I don't know. I forget who I was talking. I've talked to somebody over the weekend, maybe Shoddy, and I was just like, the pick 5s are such an animal, a different animal, all separate, because there's handicapping and then there's structuring your ticket to fit your budget. And those are 2 very different skills. And sometimes that structuring to get it down to where okay, now I'm comfortable playing that ticket is very, very difficult.
Yep. And honestly, I like these days sometimes where you can, like, I love pressing a pick 3. Mm-hmm. And on these days, like in particular, like this day where it's like, it does seem like it could be somewhat chalky. Mm-hmm. But some of my best hits have been when I've played a pick 3 for say $20 or something like that. Like just throwing out one, just kind of looking at the card, like say you started one in race 7, which is a maiden special weight, which, again, is dicey, but I like Tip Top Thomas, the Pletcher. You go to the next race, I like Rhetorical. And then you go to the next one, and that's you play the 2 Applebee's. That's a $2 ticket base, and you amp it up however you want,
Yep.
Now it might miss, right? But you're not, that's the whole point, is you got to press some of these, I feel like, and you could still make money.
You're trying to get alive to those Applebee horses for $300.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Just throwing a number out, but that's kind of what the thought process is. Yeah. And it makes sense. Yeah.
And honestly, these days on the Travers days, I've always liked these days on terms of playing these rolling pick 3s, because I've had a lot of success with, like, I'm not afraid to play the favorites if I like them, right? But I'll just press it, Mm-hmm. Like there's been times where I've gotten like 15, 20 to 1 on, I need Cody's Wish to win or whatever. You're just like, okay, like I can do that. I'm fine with that. So you got to get there. So yeah, definitely don't be afraid of these days, or don't be, I'm not playing because it's chalky or whatever. Like sometimes it's okay, So
Yep.
All right, that's all the time we have. Check us out at racingdudes.com for our free and premium picks. Just click that Get Racing Dudes premium button at the menu at racingdudes.com to learn more. Remember, go get the betting Bible right now. It is available. The full version is available right now. You get all our picks for the whole Travers card, as well as exactly how we're playing the Travers. Go get that. It is for free if you are a premium subscriber. We're on Twitter at Racing_Dudes, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. You can find all episodes of Blinkers Off by visiting our podcast page. Go to YouTube, guys. If you are watching us, we appreciate it. If you were watching the after version of this, it's always more fun to be on these lives with us, and you can ask questions and interact with the chat. Go to our YouTube page, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell. Due to Bet Sports, that you guys just Due to Sports, right? You guys just did it, right?
Yes. We covered the NFL today, so we had our NFL preview.
Oh, baby.
Talk about everything there. We talked a little bit about college football. We have 4 college football games actually happening this weekend, so that's always weird to be walking around the Travers and checking that game that's happening in Dublin, Ireland. And so we talked about that kind of stuff.
I did see a social media post said something like, last Saturday was like, this is the last weekend without football until February, whatever, after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, that's pretty good. It's
exciting. And I know like week 0 of college football kind of sucks, but it is kind of cool because it kicks off at like noon Eastern to get on your phone at like 1 o'clock and see a football game that counts and be like, well, it's back at least. This isn't the most entertaining thing. I think I'll just pay attention to these horse races now. But hey, you know what? Next week, I'll probably have 2 screens going with football and horse races. So, it's coming. And there's nothing worse for me than preseason football in the NFL. I cannot watch it, get into it. But a game that actually counts, even if it's 2 teams that I don't care about, it's always refreshing to see.
I agree. Next week, we'll just plan it for next week. We'll have our NFL discussions as well after our Travers trip. But Magic Mike show will be on at 4:00 Central Time, talking about the Saratoga Pick 5 preview. So if you want to stay for that, Charlestown will be live at 5:45 Central, going over the Charlestown. What is it? Late the Pick 3, right?
What are you talking about? Who? Tonight?
Oh, it's tomorrow. I'm sorry.
Tomorrow night, yeah.
That's tomorrow night. Sorry about that.
Who's doing what now tomorrow night?
It's Racing Dudes After Dark.
Oh, I don't care. Okay.
I was just going through the list. Okay.
I was like, what's happening?
It's like one show of all of our shows that Halterman's not a part of.
I was like, I've heard of Magic Mike, but I don't know this other one.
Okay. So I told you yesterday, I was like, hey, I've got some news for you.
Yeah.
So the Falcons.
Yes.
So I coach my soccer, like son's soccer team, the Turtles, and I've coached them. I've coached his soccer teams for years. He's transitioned to flag football this year, and it's been a shit show to put it lightly. Like, and we went to a new league, like a more professional league, like not professional, but a little more legitimate league. It's not the Parks and Rec. It's like you pay for it and all the shit. And so I'm like, yeah. And then like they can't get a team together. They don't have a coach. No one's volunteering to be a coach. They bumped us down from the 2nd grade level to the kindergarten through 1st, so they could field a like the K through 1 had no one. Long story short, I'm back, baby.
Oh no.
I'm back. You're looking at the newest Falcons head coach. Jared Welch, going to dominate the K through 1 league with 2nd graders.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. Number one. Your kid is a giant for a 2nd grader.
Oh yeah, like he's gonna be the kid that everyone's like, we need to see some birth certificates on that kid.
He's gonna look like, this is so funny. They can get a coach. You're down a grade, and now you fall into the head coaching role. I mean, if you lose a game, you're gone.
Oh, it's like the interim head coach situation where like, well, we can't really find one, so Jared's just gonna do it because he's got coaching experience. But
Right.
you're like, no one really wants me to be the coach, so we'll see.
So what happened? Like, did they just take up the teams and nobody wanted to coach, or
I
what?
guess what happened is, at least this is our first year in the league. We have I just didn't have any idea how it worked. A lot of these like travel, like legit teams, of course, at this age, there's not many of them, but they like, hey, the so-and-so team is signing up, and that's like their group. They're just the whole team, the roster's already set and everything. And then
Oh,
they
good
have what's
Lord.
called free agents, where like Cohen was a free agent when he signed up. So then they have to piece together a team, and that's how the Falcons were formed. And usually they say there's a coach or a parent will volunteer or whatever. And no one was volunteering. Like everyone's like, "Fuck that! I don't want to do that." And I'm like, same way. I'm like, that's the whole reason I went over here. I wanted to sit this year out and just watch and be a parent, And then we got bumped down, and then it was Cohen's like, "Dad, I want you to coach." And then Cooper, he's actually in kindergarten now. There's been some rumors floating around in his world that he wants to join and be our kind of a special teams type, kind of like a Devin Hester kind of role on the team. And so I'm like, listen, if both of them are playing, I might as well coach.
This sounds like a circus.
Oh, dude. We were supposed to have a game. We were supposed to have a game tonight.
Right.
And
You said
it got delayed because they're like, we didn't even know. We didn't like this was just happened yesterday. So like, we didn't even know we didn't have a coach.
You
No
lied to us
or anything.
You lied to us.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. You said last week we would have a game this week.
Well, I was supposed to. I mean, we had 0 practices. We would have got killed. Although we are playing K-1, so I mean,
Ricky chimes in, and I kind of agree. It sounds like the Bad News Bears of kids football. It kind of does.
It does, right? And honestly, I'm gonna operate it that way. I think like I'm just gonna. That's the best part about the situation is like every parent's like, you guys didn't want to volunteer. I'm the one that stepped up. So if you don't like it, then deal with it. I'm gonna have Cohen go deep or throw bombs to someone every time. I'm gonna tell him to stiff arm kids. Yeah, dude, I would. Ricky, if you come out, I will hire you as an assistant.
The problem is he can't be within 100 feet of children. So.
Oh, that's still it, huh?
Or Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, shit. Poor Ricky.
So, okay. Next year, though, Cohen will be in Mighty Mites, like tackle.
Yeah, because 3rd grade. Yeah.
So you can
do flag football up to like 6th grade.
Oh. Okay.
I mean, they have it offered, but he's. I mean, if I just had to get him. He doesn't want to play tackle yet, but he could dominate in tackle because he's like that big kid that doesn't want to have. It's this age is 5v5, Rodney. Okay. So I think you have a center who hikes it, quarterback obviously, and then wide receivers or whatever. So you can't even rush the quarterback at this age.
So he can.
I think it's like you have like 7 seconds. That's the other thing. I have no idea on the rules, but you have like 7 seconds, and if you don't pass it, then it's like lose it down or whatever. But
well, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you let those kindergartners beat you, you're never ever. You better just not tell us because you're never gonna hear the end of it. If you have a bunch of 2nd graders get beat by kindergartners, it might make my life. I mean,
I'm not gonna report back if we lose.
Yes.
So
yeah,
it will be fun. They even have apparently like if you win the quote unquote Super Bowl championship or whatever, you get a ring. Each player gets rings. And so I told Cohen, and he's like, I want the ring. I want the. So I said,
"You're gonna get a ring for beating kindergartners?
Hey,
come on! I
listen,
mean, this is getting a little ridiculous.
As long as I get one, that's all I care about. I'll put it on my pinky.
Next time you guys see Jared at a track, he's gonna have a ring from beating. This is the time I coach those 2nd graders.
What is that
beat
for?
those kindergartners.
This is flag football, K-1.
Wow,
undefeated, baby.
Ring pop. Ron says he's a ring pop. Exactly.
Oh no, it's gonna be a total experience. Again, like I grew up playing soccer. I grew up coaching, like when I was like in high school and reffing, all this stuff. So it was not anything weird for me. But this is like I obviously know football. I know the rules of football. I know I'm same thing, but I don't know flag football and what the and then playing down. And it's kind of one of those leagues where the parents they sign their kids up in this league to kind of, it's not like, oh, we just wanted them to do an activity. You know, they signed them up in this league because they wanted like a competitive, situation. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna have to, watch some Madden and play some Madden, get some plays, work together.
Well, can I relieve your worry?
Okay.
This kind of sounds like coaching like kids at PE. Like, I don't think there's going to be a lot of blocking schemes or things. It's just like, you run left, you run right, you go deep, you go over the middle.
Yeah.
I think that's all. I think that's the only level that you're really going to have to worry about.
Well, honestly, dude, every single day, well, not every day, but a lot of days we are outside in the front yard playing football, right? And I'll be like, I'm usually all-time quarterback or whatever, and I'll be like, okay, go, you run a post and you run this way, and when you see the tree, you go that way, that kind of. It's like that's all you got to do,
Yeah, I think you'll be fine. I don't think, and if these parents think that you're gonna like develop them, then they're out of their mind to begin with, and I wouldn't worry about it.
I'm getting a whistle though. That's for sure.
That's great.
I'm getting a whistle and a visor and some big old aviator sunglasses. I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna start yelling and make them run sprints. And
I like that.
Wish they never hired me.
Yeah. Well, make them fire you because you don't want to do it. So
our game got pushed back to the end of the year. This week's game against the Patriots. I don't know who we play next Thursday, but we will have a practice next week, and then we'll have our first game next Thursday. Looks like we play the Jets. Jets next Thursday. There you go. So,
well, you think Rodgers will be hurt by then or no?
Yeah, maybe. But I'll find out maybe if the Jets, what their score was on week 1 tonight, and then I'll give you the update next week, and you guys can predict the outcome with the one win or one loss Jets versus the untested Falcons.
I like that. That's a great idea. I can't wait.
Listen, I'm already checking I've checked the roster, see if there's any single moms on the contact list. We're working on it. Okay.
Good call.
We'll find out. All right, guys, that's all the time we have. We'll be heading to Saratoga tomorrow. So if anybody's going to be there, make sure you hit us up. Honestly, it's one of the favorite things we do when we go to the track. It's not the racing, but it's getting to see and meet and hang out with people that like us or watch our stuff or just like racing like we do. So hit us up if you're there at the track. We'll be at the Paddock Bar. Good chance of that. Until next time, I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Good luck in the Travers.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Blinkers Off. Join our horse racing community at racingdudes.com and follow us on Twitter at racing_dudes. Want to make money betting horses? Bet with the Racing Dudes.